Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Shop Adventure, my weekly excursion where I leave the homestead here at Athletic Geek HQ in search for a bounty of comics, action figures, collectibles, graphic novels, and all things in between. First things first, time to talk about what stood out to me from last week's pull list, and without question, the number one book of the week was The Green Lantern by Grant Morrison. You can tell that Morrison has really wanted to do a Green Lantern story for quite some time. He has a tremendous amount of knowledge for the history of this character, and that doesn't always translate into a good story. You know, there are plenty of other writers in the past that have a lot of knowledge and respect for the history of characters, but I still feel that their stories weren't that good or overrated. But Morrison, you can tell, knows a lot about the history of Green Lantern from really before the characters started getting popular, you know, when Jeff Johns took over, before all the different corps and the green, you know, the Black Lanterns and the Indigo Tribe and Larva, you know, before all of them really came about, you know, they had other villains and other, characters that Morrison's writing stories about. And I compare it to, you know, how he, whenever he took over Batman, he used a lot of those crazy 1950s Batman stories and was able to find a way to work them into canon. He's doing something very similar to that, I feel, at the present time with this Green Lantern book, where he's using these older villains that maybe got overlooked in recent years when it came to Green Lantern stories, and he's really pushing them to the forefront, and that's kind of cool. We'll see if the book maintains momentum. But yeah, like that's really one of the only things that stood out to me. That was such a clear number one. Deadpool was fun, being a little Christmas issue with Deadpool having a hit on Santa Claus, and Batman was all right with the team up with the Penguin, and like Alfred kind of being the Penguin's keeper in the Batcave, to where Penguin still wouldn't know where the Batcave and everything else. I thought those were some pretty cool moments from that book. But those are, it was Green Lantern was up here and everything else. I'm not gonna say it was bad, but it was a distant first, and that's not a slight on the other two books by any stretch. It's just a testament to how good Morrison's Green Lantern was. But that's pretty much all I got. So I'll see y'all when I get back to the homestead. Hey everyone, I am back here at the homestead Athletic Geek HQ, and I've got a huge bounty this week. Really big, a few unexpected things, but it's a really big pull list and a few other options, so time to quit talking about it and get into it. The first book, and unfortunately I guess I'm going to start with the negative, is Uncanny X-Men number 5. This book has done absolutely nothing to impress me, and I this is not what I like this to be. I don't like to be negative. I don't like to make this show like some other YouTube channels where all it is just a negative experience and you bashing comics and writers. It's not what I'm about. Like what you like, voice your opinions. Try to keep it as positive as possible, but this book has done nothing for me, and a lot of people like it. I guess I'm the minority. I have not cared for this book whatsoever thus far, and it's going to be the only X-Men book, and I may not get the X-Men, because I can't waste $4 every other week, or, right now it's weekly, but every other week on something that's not that good. So, yeah, it has 4 more issues to really bring up to speed and impress me, or if not, I'm gonna have to cut it. So yeah, okay, X-Men number 5. From there we go to a book that I do really enjoy, Avengers number 11 by Jason Aaron. Again, not to harp on the negative, this isn't as good as some of Aaron's other works, but it's still damn fine work because Jason Aaron, he's just awesome. Yeah, just, really, really good. I like the Avengers book because I kind of get my fix of a lot of cool Marvel heroes in one book instead of having to buy a bunch. I can see Thor, I read Thor, Iron Man, all the Marvel characters I can get my fix reading about them in one one book, and Jason Aaron's a great writer, so Avengers number 11. And then from here, we go to Mr. and Mrs. X number 6. You know, they've kind of concluded their big adventure. Rogue and Gambit have, and now they're back home to enjoy the married life and have a housewarming party with the rest of their mutant friends. I don't know if this is the end of it being a limited series. I sure hope it isn't, because it's the best X book going on right now. Kelly Thompson, you know, knows how to write these two characters, and she knows how to write them really well. But if it is the conclusion, it was a fun little fun little read, and if it isn't, then I hope she keeps up the good work on my two of my top 3 favorite mutants in the world. So, Mr. and Mrs. X number 6. From there, we go to Batman Damned Book 2. There was the controversy surrounding the first one, but you know, with the naked Bruce Wayne, but it's still a very it's Batman in horror movie form, like really like horrific stuff happening, and it was really good last time, and I hope it's just as good this time around. So we'll go with Batman Damned Book 2. And keeping on the horror Batman, we have The Batman Who Laughs number 1. This is a 6-issue miniseries, and subscriber Eric has let me know about how good this book was, and decided to pick it up and take his word for it. So thank you, Eric, for suggesting this book. And yeah, so I'm gonna give it a shot. It's Scott Snyder, and you've heard me praise Scott Snyder a lot on this here show. So The Batman Who Laughs number 1. And from there we go to Batman Annual number 3. It's just basically a completionist thing. I'm not really a huge fan of annuals because they're usually one-shot stories. Some of them are pretty good, but for the most part they're just kind of side stories, not even by the same crew. And nowadays it's not like really anything life-changing happens in them, but I buy them essentially just for completionists with my collection. So, Batman Annual number 3. And we go from there to Batman Detective Comics number 94. This is the first issue of the Peter Tomasi run, and it says the countdown to 1,000 right there at the top. And I enjoy Peter Tomasi. I met him at Lexington Comic Con. I loved his Superman run before Bendis took over. That's not a slight on Bendis. That's just me praising how great of a writer Peter Tomasi is. His Batman and Robin work was incredible during the New 52. And I really enjoy his Green Lantern Corps work during the New 52 as well. He's, to me, the most underrated and underappreciated writer there is. He always has like the side book that doesn't get all the attention, but is maybe the best, one of the best books, for that character. You know, for example, he was doing Batman and Robin, and as good as it wasn't getting the praise because of Scott Snyder. And this was in the New 52, and that's, you know, Scott Snyder's Batman deserves a lot of praise, but Peter Tomasi just flew under the radar because of that. You know, Jeff Johns was doing Green Lantern, and it was getting so much praise because of, and again, rightfully so, because it was an amazing run, and it made Green Lantern this, you know, pillar of the DC universe. But then Tomasi was doing Green Lantern Corps, and it just, great books with, you know, telling great stories with the rest of the Green Lantern characters, but yet it just was flying under the radar because with the same character there was this history-making stuff going on. So Peter Tomasi, to me, is the most underrated writer in comic books. And right now he's doing Detective Comics again. Everything's looking at King's Batman run, but, you know, maybe he'll be able to bring the Detective Comics back up to where it was at the beginning of Rebirth, and you never know. Maybe Detective will overtake just the regular Batman solo title is the top Batman book. It's the countdown to 1,000, and Peter Tomasi's in the driver's seat. So, Action Comics number 994. From there, we go to The Flash number 60. you know, you've heard me say again, underrated writers to underrated comic books. Flash is still dealing with his strength force powers, and it's been a fun story arc, and it continues here in number 60. And from there we go to Hawkman, number 7. All My Past Remembered, it says there on the cover. This has been another really fun title, just, you know, taking a character that a lot of people look at as kind of a punchline for B-lister within the DC universe, but Robert Venditti has done an excellent job making me care about this character, and by extension, I recommend this to all of you, even if you're not a Hawkman fan, to give this a shot, because it's just that good. Just good story, and Brian Hitch art, and I love Brian Hitch art, so from there. From there we go to Justice League Dark, number 6. And, you know, this has kind of been up and down. I do really enjoy this book. It's probably not at the same level it was the first few issues whenever I was, you know, really became a fan of the book. But it's still very, very good, and just kind of the portrayal of all the mystical DC heroes, and then being led by Wonder Woman. So you kind of get that big heavy hitter in there to make you... They bring you in with Wonder Woman, and then they expose you to these cool magical heroes from there. So it's a good book. Again, not as good as it once was, my opinion, but still, I mean, it's still on the pull list. So, you know, I must not dislike it too much. So, Justice League Dark, number 6. From there, we go to Superman, number 6 by Brian Michael Bendis, and yeah, it's good. It's not great. The action, I feel like action right now is a better Superman title than the Superman proper, but Bendis is writing both, so, I mean, it just is what it is. I really feel like Bendis should have just one Superman title instead of writing them both, but, you know, he's a legend in the business, and he's came over to DC for Marvel after being kind of the toast of Marvel, so anything he wants, he's probably going to get. So if he wants to write both action and the Superman title, then more power to him. So Superman number 6. And then finally from there, we go to Titans number 31. And I remember, you know, saying that I was iffy on whether or not I wanted to keep Titans, but they've brought back in Kyle Rayner and at the end of the last one, and that's really piqued my interest because Kyle Rayner was actually the first Green Lantern I was exposed to. Before I was able to read old stuff and get familiar with Hal Jordan, whenever I was buying comics off the news rack at Walmart and Kroger and whatnot, Hal Jordan had already died, and Green Lantern was just Kyle Rayner. And I really enjoyed Kyle Rayner. He was a really good, relatable character. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I felt like he was just a really, really earnest, relatable, almost like the Peter Parker of the DC universe, to an extent. And he was an artist, so he did these cool constructs with his power rings. So Kyle was actually my first Green Lantern I was exposed to, even before Hal. And I love Hal, but Kyle was my first. So my interest was kind of waning, especially with what they're doing with Nightwing right now. So, you know, I was kind of concerned, but, you know, because they took Nightwing out. But with the introduction of Kyle Rayner into a story arc, I'm definitely going to be holding on to Titans for a little while longer. So, yeah, Titans number 31. That is it for the pull list, but not it for the bounty this week. I got not one, but 2 of these little mini statuettes this week. You know, you've been seeing me collect these. These are so cool. I got a Justice League, the animated series version of Batman. Like, I need more Batman statuettes, but, you know, really, really cool. I have so many little statuettes of Batman already, and you can't see them because they're in my living room. That's how, you know, where they all reside. But, you know, I'm a completionist, and I wanted to get all these from the Justice League line, so we got a nice little Batman there from the Justice League animated series line, and all, like the other ones, comes with a cool little magazine to tell you about that version of the character. And then the final one that I needed from the Series 2 of the Batman Animated Series line, there's a Batgirl. And, yeah, again, I love Batgirl. Only have one statue of her in the living room with all the rest of my Bat Family stuff, but it's the biggest statue I have and probably one of the more expensive ones that I had from the Batgirl Burnside run. But I really love the animated series Batgirl, and yeah, definitely looking forward to getting this up there. And I'm sure there's going to be another wave of these that I'm going to end up buying. I need my fandom has turned into a George Carlin bit. I need a bigger house to put all my shit. So, yeah, so two really, really cool Bat Family collectibles now to go with the rest of my other ones. So, really, really awesome. And that is pretty much it for the bounty this week. And as you can tell, it was quite the large one for me. But let me know what you picked up from your local comic shop in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, please give it a like, share, and subscribe for more content. Not just from the world of comic books, but from the world of pro wrestling, games, and all things geek culture. Go like the Facebook page for more content, including my collection comic of the week every Thursday. And that is it for me. Now, y'all be cool. Later.